Chapter 6 and Chapter 7 jointly represent our discussion of internal controls. This represents the heart of the second test and the most important concept we're going to talk about. Internal controls, this discussion begins on page 184. We start by introducing the notion of the COSO framework. You should be able to identify each part of the COSO framework, define its purpose. That discussion continues 186. Table 6-2 provides an excellent summary of the COSO framework. Figure 6-1 is a framework we're not going to cover in this class. The Table 6-3 represents the 17 principles of auditing, and that is the exercise we're going to memorize in this chapter. That discussion on each of those principles continues for several pages to page 194. I would read this. I'm not asking you to know every detail, but you should be able to follow the principles. They're fairly intuitive, so you should enjoy that. Figure 6-2 is the framework for understanding and evaluating internal controls. Be able to understand it. If you understand it, you understand how we actually use and test internal controls. The discussion on reliance strategy for substantive strategy should be familiar, and you should know this already, but if not, read that in detail. Table 6-4 is a great figure to test whether you really know what's going on. It's found on page 197. It links assertions to internal controls, an important step that the rest of the chapter doesn't cover. An extended example begins on page 198 where they walk you through how to actually understand internal controls. That goes to page 201. I would definitely read this. I don't know that I would study it, but I would definitely read it, so it's like a level 2 topic. Documentation of internal controls again begins on 201. Documentation isn't something I'm going to study at length, but you do need to know the different methods for documenting internal controls. So that would be a level 2 topic. On page 203, always a level 1 topic, the limitations on internal controls. Memorize this list. It will always come up. Page 204 talks about how you assess internal controls. In terms of control risk, I would definitely make this a level 1 topic, and I keep reading until it actually makes sense. The substantive procedures link that begins on page 206, it's really, I think, confusing at this stage, and I would skip 206 all the way to the end of the chapter. We're not going to cover the advanced modules in this chapter, so that concludes Chapter 6. Chapter 7 immediately begins, and they really should be one chapter. It deals with what are we going to do with this internal control information. Beginning on page 226, the discussion on responsibilities and definitions are really a level 2 topic. Now, the different types of problems you can occur, beginning on 227, control deficiencies, material weaknesses, and significant deficiencies are all level 1 topic. Figure 7-1 is a level 1 topic. You need to memorize this figure. It is very important. It's referenced repeatedly. The management assessment process is a level 2 topic that begins on page 229 and really goes on till about 233. You should read it for background. It'll help you, but it was not a critical topic. How you actually audit internal controls or financial reporting, figure 7-2 is a level 1 topic. Make sure you understand it. You'll find table 7-3, the factors that may affect your plan. I would consider this a level 1 type figure. Don't memorize it, but for each line, make sure you understand it. The work of others on page 235 is a level 3 topic. I don't expect you to know that, but entity level controls on 236 is more of a level 1 topic. Understand the difference between transactional controls and entity controls. On page 238, we see the nature and extent and timing of procedures reinterpreted at the infer test of controls rather than substantive test. I would definitely read this in detail, level 1 topic, much like table 7.4 and 7.5 are useful for understanding and putting the pieces together. We then find on page 242 a discussion on examples of control deficiencies. You can't memorize them. There's so many examples. I would read them, but I wouldn't be stressed if I don't get them right off the bat. So level 2, 2.5 topic. Remediation of control weaknesses is an important topic on page 244. That's a level 1 topic. The written representation by management is going to be a level 2 topic, read it, make sure you understand it, but don't stress about it. Auditor documentation requirements is a level 3 topic, and the auditor reports on internal control over financial reporting, or ICFR, is a level 1 topic, but don't try and memorize or even read the auditor's report. Focus more on Figure 7-4. They give a couple example reports. I would maybe read them once, but I wouldn't stress about that. Page 250 talks about other reporting issues. You can skip that entirely. And then we get special controls module on page 252. You can skip that entirely. Same with the computer assisted controls. Have a great one.